calling it at that time. The committee would like to thank you for your attendance at tonight's meeting. Can I get a roll call of commission members or committee members, please?
Councilmember Marshall, Councilmember Galani, Councilmember Albers,
Here.
Mayor Garitano, and Chair Beatty.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Does the Department of Planning have any opening comments?
Yes, Mr. Chair, and thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank all of you for attending tonight. We do appreciate the extra effort this particular committee requires on an as-need basis. So thank you very much. And I extend that thanks to Mr. Brown for being here as well. Thank you. In preparation of tonight's discussion, the Department of Planning did provide to you a packet of information, part of which was developed by it and the remainder by the petitioner in this particular instance. The packet of information includes the agenda and bylaws associated with the committee. It also has two different aerial photographs, those of the site more in a larger scale and then the general area in a smaller scale. The petitioner has provided what I would consider a sketch plan that's on an aerial photograph as well. And that's the primary piece of information you see first in the packet that's been provided. Along with that sketch plan, the petitioner has provided floor plans and architectural drawings of the models that are being proposed or suggested at this location. Finally, the remainder of the packet is the standard information the department provides to the committee each time. It includes the town center regulating plan, the land use map, the use chart that identifies those activities that can be considered in the land use map, and then finally a summary of the design guidelines reflective of the new urbanism standards and other requirements. I just want to make a couple of notes about the property, Mr. Chair. We collectively here at City Hall call this the wedge property. It's the property that farms the triangle at the easternmost edge, so to speak, of town center. It's butted by Route 100 on the north, Manchester Road on the south, and then Wildwood Christian Church on the west. It's approximately 12 acres in size and has a portion of the original pavement of Route 66 still located upon it. The plan that's been provided indicates 42 total units. They are duplexes in pairs of two. And from that, Mr. Chair, I'll let the petitioner take it from there. But I would conclude just by saying that this is, I believe, either the fourth or fifth proposal the Development and Zoning Review Committee has considered on this particular site. The first one was for a multiple family development, a pretty robust development in terms of total units. And then the subsequent two or three were submitted by the same applicant for a senior care facility. And it varied greatly between what was submitted at the first meeting to the last meeting. So this may be either number 4 or number 5.
So
questions?
I'm sorry. Is this the same applicant that has been before us in the past?
This is a completely different one. It's called Blue Onyx. I believe Mr. Valentine will be representing them tonight. And yes, this is a single family developer. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Vunich. Would the developer like to present to us what they have in mind?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Voles, I tried to send a prompt to Mr. Valentine. Is he going to be presenting?
I thought he was going to be on, but if he's not,
so
I can
Mr. Valentine, who can hear me, if you'll just accept the prompt that I'm about to send you so you can come in and use your camera and microphone.
There we go. Travis, can you hear me now?
Yes, you are in the meeting. Thank you.
Excellent. I did see your prompt last time, and when I clicked on it, it didn't do anything. This time clearly worked.
We got there.
Yes. Good evening, everybody. Really just wanted to propose our planned project for the site. As you can see on the screen here and in your packets, it is certainly a much less dense proposal than at least what we've understood to be presented before. This is our villa series. This is our upscale villa series. There are 3 different floor plans shown here, laid out as A, B, and C models. So they are all a duplex style, right? So that's how we refer to our villas. So 1 common wall for 2 units. All of the products have full foundation basements attached to car garage and are meant to be in this entire complex is a fee simple for sale transaction, is not a proposed rental site. So these are for sale to buyers to own. The proposal as you see it incorporates not only the 40 units that are shown, it incorporates, and again, very preliminarily, some stormwater detention area. We also recognize that there is a Route 66 path through the project, and we are intending to kind of maintain that route and convert it actually into a public trail connecting from the trail to the north through the site down the old Route 66 and then connecting to the trail on the south side at Manchester Road. There's also another connection further to the east, also connecting the trail to the north to the south. And one of the primary purposes for the area that is kind of left vacant at the trail area at the north adjacent to the northern storm basin is we intend to have a little pocket park in this area that is intended to be a pocket park really with paying honor to Route 66 and the history associated with it, where we'll have some benches and some signage that discusses the history of Route 66. And then again, some benches and some areas for people that would like to relax and sit there and take a load off and read the signs, etc. That's what that intended kind of vacant space up there to the north is intended for. Pretty simple and straightforward layout. We do want, there's a creek and a large ravine that kind of bifurcates the property there on the western side. So staying away from that area there, but also trying to get some product that kind of overlooks that area, as we think it will be quite pleasurable for a homeowner to have that as their backyard. I don't know if any other questions there might be on the layout. Again, it's preliminary at this time, so we don't have really any engineering work. We were trying to get conceptually, is this something that the city of Wildwood would find appealing and good use of this ground? From our early feedback and conversations, we thought that it would, but we're here tonight to make sure that we are on the right track.
All right. Thank you. And is it Mr. Valentine?
You can go with Mr. Valentine or Steve.
Steve. Okay.
Mr. Valentine, I feel like I may have been in trouble with somebody. So
all right. I understand, Steve. Thank you so much. I'll start off with a couple questions. So like looking at your drawings, those little squares, like say on 13 and 12 next to the east of the detention basin and the trail, it like those boxes under where 13 and 12 are, is that supposed to be where the driveway is?
So I'm really trying to see which ones are 13 and 12. It's
right.
not...
Yeah, right there.
Okay, there
and
you go.
They all have it. I'm just starting with went to those two.
So yeah, so the boxes are the actually representations of the garage itself, and then the driveway would come out connecting to the road from there. Like I said, these are all are attached two-car garage villas.
Okay.
So that's what that mini sub box represents, so to speak.
Gotcha. And then would these be set far enough back
Mhm.
from the street to accommodate a car length on the
Yes.
driveway? Okay.
Yeah, so the design is a two-car garage plus at least 20 feet from the garage face to where the pavement is, so that you could park two in the driveway as well.
Okay. Yeah, because I know that the mayor is on now. I know he always asks about that, and parking's always something of a concern with these projects.
The intention is, to Dave's point, to Mr. Vols' point, is to have on lot 4 available parking spots, 2 in the driveway, 2 covered and 2 uncovered.
Okay. So, and then would there be any like auxiliary parking lots on here?
It
Just
was
for
not, yeah, it was not our initial intention, because of the 4 per that
Mhm.
we're delivering. That the intention was to not consume any more ground that we had to with additional pavement. But if additional parking is needed, I guess we could look to find that. But generally speaking, 4 per has been adequate or more than adequate in past projects.
Okay. And I personally, I like the way you've incorporated the adjacent trail into the neighborhood with the multiple entry and exit points. I will say that. Does anyone else on the committee have any questions they'd like to ask?
Would there be street parking or one side, or what's the proposal with street parking?
So the street width, right, is a public width, and certainly could accommodate it. My preference is to never have more than one side street parking, so we would certainly post it that way.
Okay.
But yes,
Okay. Yeah, the city needs villas, so it's encouraging to see this. Do you have a preliminary price range? I know there's several models, or can you say what you're looking at on the price range for these units?
well, I can give some targets, but as we continue to learn more about some various architectural components that we want to make sure that we incorporate these. Our pricing is a little fluid at this point.
Sure, I
But
understand that.
we would expect them to transact between probably $500,000, and depending on some of what we've seen in some of these buyers, they're actually moved down buyers from what I'll call rather large family homes, and so a lot of times they'll come in and really fully appoint these things, including finishing the basements.
Okay.
So we've had some, and I've seen some hit, which seems crazy to me on 16 and 1700 square feet, but they'll get them up to $1 million to make sure that they're the way that they want them to be. So we don't control, or we don't try and limit in any way their ability to finish the space with high-end touches and appointments. But I expect that lower number to be in the $500,000 range.
And I'm sorry, you just said 16 to 1700 square feet plus a basement in every unit, right?
Plus a basement. There should be slides that were provided for the floor plans themselves, and they should have the square footages on there.
Okay, I'm seeing them now.
And look, I thought I saw some with a two-story option even.
So yeah, so there's a right now we don't have a full naming convention. Right now they're just Model A, Model B, Model C currently. So model C, floor plan C, does have what we kind of call like a loft or eagle's nest kind of area. There you go. That's the model C right there.
Okay.
So if if you took the Model C and finished the basement, you can get up over 3,000 square feet relatively easily. So
Oh, wow.
again, for those that want the space, even though they don't appear, again, because they're kind of a ranch style footprint, the basements are spacious. And depending on, your desire to finish that space, you can add a decent amount of square footage to the overall living area.
Yep. As someone who has a 1,900 square foot ranch, I love my 1,900 square foot basement.
Right, exactly. Right. So if you finish 1,700 of that, just like that, right, you're at 3,600 square feet. So it's a lot of livable space, and even leaves you, an area for your mechanicals and maybe a little workroom. But you can really up that living space.
Definitely. And then we're just completely avoiding the creek area, it looks like, and so that's why you have the two stub streets basically.
Yeah, we want to stay out of that ravine. There's obviously, there's some good tree cover through there. Plus, you have the creek, and it's higher ground, flowing down to that creek. So the topo through there is not. So there's several reasons to, just stay off of that creek and really maintain it. For those properties along the western edge, again, it provides a nice front yard viewing area for you, right? You're really not, looking into neighbors' homes, so to speak. You just got a nice green space, and then same for the rear yard of the villas, just kind of on the other side of the creek. So it's good premium area for really almost half of the volume.
Yeah. Just asking, as not that I am looking to trade down and I say trade down, but house to villa, I can't afford these at the price point you're talking, but like hypothetically that the western street there, is there a reason to have those houses back to the church rather than the creek? I'm just thinking hanging out on my back patio, I think that would be a more aesthetic view looking into the trees than the church parking lot.
I think some of it really is more based on the engineering feasibility, the development feasibility of the ground. Much more impactful if we reverse it the other way.
Okay, that's fair.
To the point that I don't know that it's fully achievable.
Gotcha. I just wanted to ask. So
no,
thank you.
Fair question. And in defense of you, our salespeople ask the same things. So,
okay. Does anyone else have any questions?
Mr.
Dave,
Chair,
I have a question for you.
All right, go ahead.
So in the 4 units that are north of the retention pond, those units are back in the lot further, so they would actually have pretty large front yard if I'm reading that print right.
Yeah, and some of that is because that pedestrian trail goes through that stretch, and so we're just trying to leave some additional space through there. Yes, you have a little bit of a longer driveway, so on the one hand, it costs me a little bit of money, and it costs the owner a little bit extra back sweat if he has to shovel that driveway. But and which leads me into a conversation we have not fully vetted yet. We are contemplating having this, and we're leaning towards the direction being a maintained site where the HOA will they'll take care of the lawn care for the whole community, as well as snow removal from driveways and private walk. We got to get some part of what impacts that is just overall pricing and efficiencies of scale. We just want to make sure that we've got something that is fully viable. But that is, I think, the intended direction that we would like to go.
Another reason why I wanted to keep those back is because there's a power line that runs through there that's next to old Route 66. And that would give you a little bit more separation. So we tried to move those units back further for that reason also.
Is there a chance to bury that power line?
I don't think so. That's a pretty major power line that goes and then it crosses Highway 100. Now, you can't see, but if you notice that northern road, there's a little bit of a wiggle in it. And the reason that's there is to get around one of the poles that's on the south side of that. So we put a little bit of a turn into it. And so there's really only two poles. You'll see the wires up, but there's really only two poles that are on the property.
Okay. Mayor Garetano?
Hey, thank you. Hopefully you can hear me.
Yes, loud and
Okay.
clear.
All right, great. So I appreciate the submission for the Development and Zoning Review Committee meeting today so we could provide you with feedback. I've got a lot of history with this particular site, going back in 2015 when I first came on council. We've seen numerous proposals come for this parcel, but never really seemed to be a good fit for this parcel. Every time we saw something come through, it was some kind of multi-story building there, and there were a lot of concerns about the density that was being packed into that multi-story. So it is a relief to see something that we've always repetitively said would be a better alternative for this site, which are villas. And I also noticed that you kind of distributed out a little bit the traffic with that segment of villas on the western edge of the property, having a road that comes in and out just for that group there. And then the rest of the neighborhood will have access right there at Old Fairway, so it minimizes compared to what we've seen in the past. I would say there's a lot of, I guess, frontage maybe, or the perimeter of that property that runs along Manchester Road. You'll notice there's a lot of trees. It's kind of secluded almost, this property. So I would ask that as you're finalizing your concept plan, that you try to preserve some of that. The last thing I think I would ever want to see is that you just kind of clear cut everything down along Manchester Road, where you just kind of see through. So I'd like an answer on that tonight to see what you guys have thought of already, if you have, regarding that. So again, trying to keep that edge of the property along Manchester Road, or at least a good segment of it. What are you going to do to preserve that? The other question I guess I have is, and I don't know if there's a reason, maybe an engineering reason why we couldn't consider it, but you ever consider that road that connects, well, that road, if you follow the mouse, where's Travis? Keep going to the right where it ends. What about if there was a driveway that connected there to Manchester Road? So it's a kind of maybe a right-in only type of turn for those people that live there that are coming in Manchester. They could just drive into their neighborhood that way. Would that be a possibility? Something to think about. So that this way too, it's not just having all the cars funnel through at Old Fairway. They can come in that way. It also provides another way in. Maybe it's just a way in. I don't think it might be safe to make it a way out. So that's a second thing I'd be curious about. And I think that's really so far what I have there. So if you could address those 2 points, that would be great.
Sure, Mayor. I think, and I'll let Dave speak as well, but real quick, at least on the second entrance, that's certainly something we can study and make sure that we could meet, all the site distance and traffic requirements, in that area. And maybe Dave's going to come in and tell me that the topography doesn't lend itself there. So again, I'll I'll defer also to Dave on whether or not it's real feasible. You know, if the topo's crazy there to make that connection. You know, I don't want to set something up that engineering wise won't work, but at least in a kind of plan view 2D picture, I think to your point, Mayor, it's at least worth studying and taking a look at. And then relative to trees in general, I know I know generally around town there are certainly groups of people that think that taking trees down is what lots of developers do, and I'm sure that there are. But generally speaking, I have routinely worked with salespeople that want me to preserve as many trees as possible because it helps them sell. So it's almost selfishly that I want to preserve as many trees as I possibly can. From that regard, if there are, and we'll certainly work with the city and make sure we get maybe proper landscape folk out here. But even if there is areas that either A, out of necessity need to clear, or B, that the tree canopy, the root system gets damaged enough that we think the trees are going to die anyhow, that we make sure we have a robust planting strategy along that Manchester Road stretch. Because I agree with you. I've driven by here many times, and I think that stretch in particular, it would be really nice to make sure we've got a good tree cover, though I'm also aware that a newly planted tree takes a couple of years to start maturing and getting some good cover to it. But I do think we could certainly one way or another make sure that stretch is beautified appropriately.
Yeah, I would say, and appreciate that. I don't know if you really answered my question specific to that boundary there along Manchester Road, but I am on the Planning and Zoning Commission. So if you do come back and don't have that address, well, then we'll send you right back to figure it out. So we're giving you feedback now. But yeah, my thing would be that we're looking to create a buffer between the road and the development for a good portion of it. Because right now it's a very wooded area, which is nice, it's pretty. And so I think that's an advantage to your community, so that the folks that are moving in and buying in don't feel like they're living on top of a road. And the people that are on the road that live across from there, that they also don't feel like it's kind of straight through looking into that neighborhood there. So it's kind of making sure that we have a buffer along that perimeter that runs along Manchester Road, so that this way, I think it aesthetically appeals to the people living in there and the people that also live on the other side of the road there, because we do have residences that are on the other side. And actually, maybe that's a good example. Take a look right across the street. You'll see it's pretty dense with the vegetation, but right behind the vegetation, there are homes there. So we're looking to create kind of the same thing on the other side of the street there, so that this way you have that buffer there.
Speaking of that area,
And I'm very familiar with that area. I live right by there. So if you ever want me to show you, I'd be happy to.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. And speaking of that line, the detention basin that you have very near Manchester, would that have water in it all the time, or would that only fill when it was wet?
Now, the plan is for that to be a retention lake. So that would have water in both of them.
All right.
Actually, the one on the north, that's kind of I definitely want to try to make that one wet as well, because that can be a really neat area, because you come off of that trail that's already up there, and the goal would be to keep that old pavement there, maybe make it nicer, but then have that area where it's like Steve said, a pocket park up there. But the hope is to have both of them wet.
Okay.
Because I think that'd just look really, really nice.
Yeah.
And just going into the trees a little bit, I'm just looking at some of the aerials and looking at the grades. We'll have to look at the grades, but from the that entrance that's across the street from Old Fairway to the south, definitely that area in there, there's no reason to disturb it. In fact, I think there's some utilities in there, so we wouldn't disturb that. So going to the south, going to the north, I'm just looking at some aerials, and that's probably would be better being replanted, some of that, but I think you could get a pretty good buffer there. And I do think you might be able to make that connection that you were talking about. If that's something that you might be able to do that. It's going to depend on the grades, but as I'm looking at it, I can't see why I couldn't do that. The second connection. Those would be two entrances close by to each other, but if that was a right-in entrance, that might work.
Yeah, and I'll defer maybe to our Director of Public Works,
Right.
who knows roads better, to provide an opinion if that's a benefit or not there. Because I think it, has to connect nicely with the road there at Manchester, so that, we're also not impacting the traffic that is flowing on Manchester there. But if somebody wanted to go in, maybe there was the right lane where you turn right into it or something like that. So we could figure that out. But yes, your observations back to the the landscaping, I guess, you're exactly right. When you look to the west of the driveway, that's primarily a lot of the area that I'm thinking about there.
Yeah.
And so, and yes, if it's to the right of the driveway heading east, well, then you're right. Maybe that's better being replanted. But that main area that is now pretty dense is west of I guess, Old Fairway, all the way down.
Yeah, and I think you can work with that and save a lot of that.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Are there any more questions?
Mr. Chair, just a couple of quick points.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I'm sure Vols Engineering will look at the site distance considerations for that westernmost access point. So just a reminder. And then on that area on the east end that we talked about potentially doing a third access point, when Schnucks Wildwood Crossing developed, they had to lower that hill crest to make that westernmost access point work. They lowered it to the minimum amount because it was something no one anticipated. And it was during the transition between St. Louis County and the city. So just be cautious there also, Dave.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So, Mr. Vunich, are you saying it's higher on the north side there?
Well, until Schnucks Wildwood Crossing lowered that hill crest, the site distance didn't work, and it was a critical access point for them.
Mhm.
They ultimately spent extra money to lower it, but they didn't lower it to what I would have thought would have been the most appropriate elevation. So it's just an area to be cautious with and study, probably not just once, but twice.
Oh, so all right, this all happened before I moved out here, but
Yes.
so you're saying the new part of Manchester Road is lower than it used to be right there?
Yes, they addressed the hill crest to at least get the minimum site distance that everybody felt was acceptable. But with
Gotcha.
public safety, as Mr. Brown will tell you, acceptable generally isn't the best approach.
Yeah. Well, and you've heard me kind of complain about the Old Fairway, Old Manchester intersection before. And if something can be done there roundabout, I don't know. It would be appreciated because when you stop, like I've mentioned, if you stop behind the stop bar on Old Fairway, you can't see anything on Manchester. But that's my comment.
Well, Mr. Chair, we got an extra dedication from J.H. Barrow when they were doing the project, the enclaves at Cherry Hills. And we got the extra dedication of land area for right of way, thinking that someday a roundabout might be the solution there.
Mhm.
So I think we created a problem for Mr. Brown by doing that, but I'll let him tell me.
Well, I would say a roundabout would be a nice thing. I don't know, it might be tough to justify it on the basis of this development alone, but it would certainly help to slow the traffic in that area. And I think, like Joe says, there is room to get one constructed there likely without impacting this development negatively, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. I don't know that traffic counts necessitate it, even if we were to put this subdivision in. But it's, I think just the way the trees and the slopes at Old Fairway in Manchester are right now, if you're driving north on Old Fairway and stop where you're quote supposed to stop, it's not a safe stopping point. You have to pull across the crosswalk and almost out onto Manchester to really see anything. But that's off subject for this new development, I think. If there's no other comments, I don't know. I think you possibly have something here, and if you want to move forward with it, we look forward to seeing what you come up with in planning and zoning and city council. Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion by Councilman Marshall. Is there a second?
Cliff will do that.
All right. Thank you, Cliff. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Any abstain? All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it.